So thank you all for joining, and really excited for this topic tonight. AI is definitely one of those topics that, specifically if you're working in medical practices, may be something that you might not be paying attention to that much, but it is moving at light speed right now. In fact, OpenAI, which is the creator of ChatGPT, which everybody knows about now, just released today their new AI video generator to compete with a bunch of other products and solutions that are out there. And you'd be surprised at how good video generation is. Supposedly, you can create video that matches sound and talking now with Sora 2. There's other apps that have been able to do it, but not very well. And so this represents the next step forward. What you'll learn tonight is what we're going to do is we're going to cover three tools. The first one is going to be ChatGPT, and what I want to be able to show you is how to use ChatGPT in a way to create effective copy for social media in particular, but just in general, there's some principles that I think will be helpful when you're using a tool like ChatGPT or any of the other competitors. We're going to get into another tool called Canva. Canva is an online design tool where you can create graphics, you can create different visual images, use those in all kinds of things, not just social media, but we're going to focus on social media tonight. And Hootsuite is a tool for being able to schedule your social media out into the future. So that way, instead of having to use the app on the phone or try to use the website, you can utilize Hootsuite in order to organize all of that and schedule it into the future. And then finally, I'm going to show you how the patient education solution that we have here at Clarity can tie into your social media strategy. What are you going to be able to do after having attended this webinar? The first is to understand how to harness the true power of ChatGPT. Most people use ChatGPT as sort of a Google search engine. They ask it questions and it gives answers. You might use it for some lighter things like, writing copy or things like that. But there's ways to really supercharge ChatGPT. And I'm going to demonstrate one of those ways tonight. Canva, for those of you who are maybe not designers, or maybe you are, Canva makes it really easy to design, to create any design. What they have is they have some benefits. Is they have some templates that are really, really well done, and they also have included stock video, stock photo, and stock graphics within their libraries that are free for those who are using a paid subscription. Actually, even an unpaid subscription, they have a free option. But some of those premium ones you're able to do, and that's really helpful because paying for stock photos or finding images can be a bit difficult, and it's just right there in the app. You'll be able to create 30 days of social media content in an hour. And so that's going to be a game changer for people who where this may take up a lot of time. Then you'll be able to schedule 30 days of social posts in 10 to 15 minutes. And so literally within an hour to hour, 15 minutes or less, you'll get faster at it over time. You'll be able to get a month ahead on your social media content, where hopefully that will save you hours or maybe even days of time through automation. Okay, so first thing for ChatGPT, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of set things up on the front end here. I'm going to give you sort of the tips and tricks up front, and then I'm going to dive into the tools and actually show you and demonstrate it live how it works. So the first thing about ChatGPT is that really to make the most out of it, it's about effective prompt writing. And the more specific you are to your use case, the more effective the tool will be for you. And so the first tip I would say is describe your practice in detail to give GPT context. And so if you say, this is who I am, or this is my business, and this is what we do, that's key information that you're feeding into that tool so that it is able to then contextualize the results that it's going to provide next. The second thing, give it a role instead of generic direction. So instead of saying, write this blog post, you say you're an expert social media or blog post creator with, deep knowledge of X, Y, or Z. That'll help GPT narrow its model into the specific area that you're really trying to leverage. It'll also help you avoid, what we really have is like the sea of sameness with content that we see online today. You know, for those of you who follow this stuff closely, you can imagine you can spot the AI articles, you can spot the writing style and the writing tone and those kind of things. So there's ways to be more specific to get better direction. And then the third tip is describe your end goal and format it for use in your next step. And so that way you can go down the road of GPT suggesting a bunch of things to you and kind of, you know, have a conversation back and forth and you'll get there. But if you kind of think ahead to what you actually need, you can say, give it to me in this format so that I can use it in this way. And I'm going to give you an example here. Oh yeah, the last thing, be friendly. Robots will eventually take over. So we want to treat them nice so they're nice to us in the end. So here's a sample prop, and the example that I'm going to go through tonight, I'm assuming because this is our community, many of you are in our aesthetics community, you're in our med spa groups, but this can apply to anything. And so obviously the text is small on the screen, but this is the actual prompt I wrote for this. And I'm going to go ahead and read it just because I think it's helpful to see how some of these things are in action. And then we'll jump over to ChatGPT, we'll plug it in and you'll see what happens. So here's the sample. My business is a med spa where I specialize in treatments that help people look and feel younger through the use of wellness and non-surgical aesthetic procedures. Among these services are medical weight loss with the use of semaglutide injections, vitamin injections, cool sculpting, skin tightening with radio frequency, Botox injections, Juvederm injections, microdermabrasion facials, peptides, PHRT, and hydrofacials. So I'm telling the model, this is everything that I do, and this is going to be relevant to the content that it's going to create for you in the next step. Here's the role. You're my social media content creator of advanced knowledge of popular trends that are effective in gaining attention in the health and beauty space. My goals are to create engaging content for Instagram that will help people learn about my services, understand the benefits of these services to their aesthetic goals, and encourage them to book an appointment with us. I also utilize video-based patient education offered by clarityperformance.com, and I would like at least one post a week to focus on an education topic that they provide. You can find their patient education videos here, and I provide the URL. And so that's the other thing is that, you know, early on, you know, the models couldn't search the web, but now they do. GPT-5 searches the vast majority of information on the internet. So you can point it to sources you want it to use in order to gather that information. Here's the application. I'm using Canva to create static images for Instagram, and I need 30 days of posts that will engage an audience primarily made up of women between the ages of 22 and 50. My practice is located in Boise, Idaho, so please contextualize this content according to the demographic factors of the population of this area. So you can even get it localized into your area, so that way the content that's going to be created is much more likely to match the people that are walking through your door. So if you're in Los Angeles and you have like a larger Hispanic population, you're in multi-ethnic regions, you're going to get a lot more diversity in that content. Now, what you're going to see tonight is not a lot of diversity because Boise doesn't have a lot of diversity. We're pretty Eurocentric up here. But if you're in a different area, this is super helpful, right? So that way you can maintain, representation appropriately in the content that you're providing. So now here's the instructions. Each post should have a headline that can be used as a text over an image, a second line that is an attention grabber that can be used as a secondary text over image, and a call to action that's contextual to the post. I also need a caption for each post that is encouraging and empowering. And the last step here is the output. And the output here is written specifically for the next step of pulling all this stuff into Canva. What we're going to do with Canva is we're going to use a feature called bulk generation, which just means that we're going to define these fields that we're defining in this table on ChatGPT, and then we're going to leverage that into Canva and connect those two things together. And it's pretty cool when you see it done. And so I'll put the results in a spreadsheet, or you could write table, and each column I'm defining where I want the data to be. So column A is date and time, column B is headline, column C is the attention grabbing copy, D is the call to action, E is the caption, and F is the image recommendation. And do not include emojis or emoticons. GPT is famous for inserting check marks and emoticons and all these kind of things. And when you're trying to pull text to image design, those emoticons can kind of get in the way and foul things up. And I personally, when I see a post that has a bunch of that stuff in it, I already know that it's been generated by AI. And so I pay attention to it less personally. So I think that your audience is who's paying attention to those things too, sort of just glance, oh, that's AI, and on to the next thing, right? So you want to create something that feels like it's really, really custom. So I would avoid emoticons. And then the last instruction is the tone should be punchy, fun, and playful. And so you can describe that in however you want to. Get the thesaurus out, right? Find different words that reflect the voice and tone of your brand, of your practice, and give it those instructions. So as you can see, this is pretty wordy. It's pretty lengthy, but it is helpful. And let me. So I'm GPT here. Let me end this real quick so that I can get over to that. So I'm just going to copy, and I'm using Canva for this presentation. I'm going to copy this text out of here, and I'm just going to paste it right here into ChatGPT. Now, this will take a minute because this is not instruction that is, necessarily fast. But as you can see, it's analyzing it. Sometimes it'll return back a question asking you to clarify things. As I've run this a couple of times, it's done that for me. So now you can see it's populating here for this table. And it's writing it out in real time. So this isn't canned stuff that GPT already has on a server somewhere, answers. It is directly creating this stuff in real time. So the next step from here, as we move to Canva, is to open an Excel spreadsheet, create a new one, and copy this table and paste it into that one. And so let me see here if I have that Excel spreadsheet up. So because I've already done this, I'm kind of in the interest of time, I want to make sure that I can cover that. So I'll show you examples. But basically all I did here is I just pasted it in here. Now I have these columns that are set here. And once you have that, you save that file, as whatever your file name is going to be, because that's the file that you're going to use with Canva in the next step. Now with Canva, as long as you're creating things that are generally simple, not really, really complex animations and things like that, although there's a lot you can do with it, it can do just about anything you need. And so the tips that I have for that is, first of all, use templates as a starting place. They have a lot of great ones. Leverage the stock collection of the content they already have in the application. It's pretty broad, and they have searchable stuff. And even if you can't find something specifically, they have an AI tool and within Canva that will generate images for you. And then tip 3 is we're going to use the bulk create feature to create 30 posts at once. And then after that, it's really important to go through this. You want to, after you have those created, then you're going to want to go through and tweak and correct any errors, because it's not perfect, right? These tools are, they do make mistakes. And so just having a good set of eyes to tweak things and make them exactly how you want them is going to help you there. So here I'm in Canva. And so the first thing I want to do is I want to create a social media content, right? And these are all my existing designs. And so you can see there's a lot of options here for things to be able to create. So I'm going to select social media, and I'm going to select Instagram post. And what's great is that it's right in the right format, right? So if it's Instagram post or an Instagram carousel or a story, those all come in different formats and aspect ratios. So picking the right asset, right, will then help you be able to see exactly the right content. And then right here, it already brings up templates here. These are my recently used ones that I was playing around with. But for me, if you want to just type in med spa, now you're going to narrow all those templates down. And so there's a bunch of different ways, bunch of different templates in here. The one that I ended up using is this one, Glow Up Secrets. And I changed the design. I said, well, what I prefer is I like this text, this big bold text at the top. I want that to be my headline copy. And what's great about it, everything's point and click, and they have these little guides and stuff that you can use to make sure that you're not getting too far from the edge. And so maybe I want this to be my headline. I want the second piece to be, my attention grabbing copy. I'm going to make that bigger. Let's make that like 36. And then this could be my call to action. And this could be, you know, my website or whatever. And so the way I do it is then I go in here and I just say that's going to be my headline. That's going to be my attention grabbing copy. And this is going to be my call to action. So now, just in general placements, just having things all set up there. So I've got text here. Now I'm ready to use this bulk create feature. And where you do that is if you go down over here on the left-hand side, there's all these different toolbars, apps right here where this functionality lives. You click on that, and then down here on the lower right-hand side at the top of these rows is the bulk create. And so you click on bulk create, and there's a number of sources. We're going to upload data because we pulled that into a spreadsheet. And now I've got that spreadsheet that I was showing you a minute ago. Here's my social calendar for October. I'm going to open that spreadsheet, and it's going to return to me, you know, a sample of the data, right? It's just that right there on the left-hand side is just for you to be able to confirm, yep, this is the right data that we're getting. And then the range from the cells from the top or all the way to the bottom, it's the whole range of content within that Excel spreadsheet. That's everything you want to pull in. And so then you say continue. And now this is the part that's super cool. Now you're going to connect your data to the elements. So each one of those columns, right, we're going to connect that column, the content that's in that column, to a visual object that's inside this design. And so for the headline, I'm going to go up here to the left-hand side. This little toolbar is going to pop up, and I'm going to connect data by hitting that button. And I named it headline. So headline to headline, they're now connected. Same thing here on attention grabbing copy, connect data, attention grabber. And then finally, call to action to call to action. Now, it's not going to bring anything else in but what I define. And so you can have extra information in the spreadsheet. So like, for instance, the last column is the image recommendation that it provided for the post. I'm going to reference that when I'm building out these designs. But for the copy itself, this is like the most laborious thing, is like hand typing all this stuff in, right? Moving things around, making it like, if you can just flow all this in, then you're gonna be a step ahead. So now it's like, great, here's 31 designs that I'm going to generate, and it's going to automatically put all of that copy in headlines into that place. So I click generate, and it gives me a little pop-up at the top that says, hey, it's saved to your projects. I want to view the design. And so now I've got that design. So all that copy that were in those, now you can see this is what I was talking about, that other step where it's like, okay, we want to make sure that you know, you're going to go through the post sort of as a quality check to make sure these things are lined up and looking the way that you want them to. But now you can see all of that text is flowed into that, and now it's ready for you to start changing. Now, what I did, because I didn't want to necessarily, I'll go through one. And so for me, you know, I'm gonna make a couple tweaks here, and then I want, you know, an image here. So this is where I was talking about before. If you go over here to elements, and under elements, you're going to have essentially all of that stock photo, video, all of those kinds of things that are there. And so if you want to say search elements, I could literally type glow up, and there's photos. And so then I can see, here's all the photos that have been tagged or are available with glow up or glow into fall, right? So you can leverage the copy that you're using within the headline itself to find images that match. And let's say that we like this one. I don't really like that one because it's a little hard to read at the bottom, but you get the idea, right? So you can, so maybe I'm just saying, maybe I'm finding happy, smiling. And so let's look for somebody that looks kind of glow-up-y. And then you can sort of adjust the design in a way that you see fit. And the nice thing here is that if you don't like that particular image, and maybe you want to go with something else here, all you have to do is just click drag it over and just hold it, and then you have the ability to just swap things out. Now, I went ahead and built out an entire, yesterday I built one of these out just so I could give you an example instead of doing it live. I just want to kind of show you how to do it live. You can play around with it for yourself, but this is what something that could look that's done, that looks more refined. And so glow into fall, I'm using this picture, and then freeze the fat away for cool sculpting, smooth lines, instant confidence. And so you can see how you're number one, you've got it all in there. It's really quick to swap out images and move things around. So this is where you creating it for taking about an hour to go through and create 30 of these, because you're going to tweak things. You're going to make sure things look good. You're going to be selecting photos and things like that. But I'll provide these as an example for everybody as well, so you can kind of see. But what we have here is we have a really consistent look and feel. We have consistent fonts, and so your presentation on social media is going to be is going to align. The line to your brand is going to look very, very cohesive. Now, one more tip before I move on from this, before we move to the next step, and that is, okay, I've got all these in Instagram, but I would like these also for Facebook. So how do I now just take all the same work that I did? I've got it all laid out right, but I also want to be able to put it in Facebook. The Canva has a tool here called Resize, and you have this drop-down menu, and you can click social media, and you say, well, I want to resize that to a Facebook post. Now, see, Instagram is sort of halfway between. It's not full vertical like some of these other platforms are. It's 4x5. Facebook posts are landscape, and so now I click landscape, and I'm going to copy this file and resize it. And so now it's going to do all of that. It's going to attempt to position things in such a way that makes it easy. But same thing here now. Now I've just duplicated absolutely everything that I did. And now it's in the proper format for Facebook. And now I just might need to move a couple of things around, to make the text more readable. And there's guides and things in there that'll help you make sure that you're aligned and centered and all that stuff. And so now, just with a few clicks, vitamin boost your day. I'm just kind of moving text around to make sure that it's readable. It falls in line. I have the same 30 Instagram posts. I now have 30 for Facebook, and it's not going to take you long to just go through. You just even see right here, like it's not taking me long at all. One other tip is that if you click on the background and you double click, you'll get into the image itself, and you can kind of see the boundaries of it. So you can move it left or right or up or down, however much you have space that you have. Patient education spotlight, and bring that up. And then there are some elements here that don't get resized. This is why you have to just make sure you double check everything. So I've got a little gradient applied here that makes this text down here a little easier to read. Same thing happened here. And so you're just cleaning things up. You're just making it easy to read. And then when you're done, I'm going to go back to the Instagram to show this. And again, on the resize feature, it has all of the socials, right? So if you wanted to turn that into a reel, or if you want to turn that into a story, like reels, you could do animations. So for instance, if I wanted to animate this, I click animate, and then I'm going to say, I want to be able to animate with that. And then that can be outputted as a video. And so then you have ways to do video assets as well. So if you wanted to say, I want to do all these as video assets with animations, you do the same process. You would click resize. You would select the social media thing that you would want to be able to do. That's Facebook video maybe, right? And that's a square. That's a 1080 by 1080. And then you would copy and resize. It's going to do the same thing. Open Facebook video. And now this is, it's a little easier to get in that format, but now these all show up as videos. So now let's say I want to do an animation here. I just click on the post itself. I say animate, and let's see if I want to, that's a little too chill. Basic fade. How about something that's a little more fun? This neon one, kind of crazy scrapbook one. So you can kind of just hover, and it'll give you the examples. And so let's just do something basic called Rise. We're going to apply to all pages. So now that's everything in the entire project here. And the last piece here with video is if we go down to the lower left-hand side, there's audio. So audio, you can apply audio like a music track, right? So let's do something like modern pop. I can just preview. Let's make sure that I'm actually sharing audio here, share computer sound. So now I can just preview the audio. Okay, that's good. Now I'm just going to click and I'm going to drag that down here beneath those video posts. And now I have an audio track. Oh, didn't do it. Hold on. Now I have an audio track that will play. Makes sense, hopefully. Now, how do we get this out of here so that we can post it, right? I'm going to go back to my Instagram version here. And by the way, I just now created 90 posts. And it's only been a few minutes. So this is what we talk about creating it at scale. So I'm going to click share, and there's a button called download, and then you can pick the format that you want to download it in. I suggest PNG for the social media platforms. They optimize their images anyway, so you're not going to have to worry about file size. And you can say, I want all the pages, I want just the current page. It's got everything selected by default. And when I hit done, then I hit download. Now it's going to take those files, it's going to render them, it's going to export them, and give you a zip file that you can download. Same thing here for, so there's, that was Instagram post. Let's see here. So now it's brought up, here's my MedSpa Instagram example. It's going to download that to my computer. And then I'm ready to move on to the next step, which would be Hootsuite. Same thing for the, let's see here. Trying to look for, yep, this is the Facebook video. Instead of choosing image, you can certainly choose image, right? But this is going to default to MP4 video. Now, a key thing here is that you want to click this button that says download pages as separate files. By default, if it's an image, it's already going to do that. But if it's a video, it's going to assume it's one video unless you specify that. And so I want those as separate files. You would click download. The same thing would happen. It would package everything up in a zip file and ask you to save it to your computer. All right, so let me take a break real quick and make sure that we don't have any questions.
We had a few questions, if you don't mind, Marcus.
Yeah, that's great.
One of the questions was, are you using the pay version of ChatGPT?
I'm not. Now, what ends up happening is there's a limitation to it, and so I don't know if you noticed it. You might have noticed it when I put it in there. Let's see here. It'll give you a warning essentially, and the warning will say because what it'll default to the most advanced model first. But when you get past a certain point, they're trying to preserve resources, right? So they're going to reserve those resources for the paid customers, and it's going to drop you to a lower language model, which would be GPT-4. But GPT-4 can do this as well. So you're not going to suffer huge loss quality for these particular applications. When you're doing more advanced things, where GPT-5 is required, that's where the limitations will come in for paid versus free. But for what we're doing here, it should work just fine on the free version.
Okay. Then the next question was, will you share this webinar for recording? Will you share the recording later? Will it go out to all participants?
Yep. And so tomorrow I'll edit it and we'll send an email out with a link to everybody that you can view it. And we're also going to make it available on the website as well, behind a form fill. So anybody who wants to take a look at this can do so.
Okay, great. The next question was, if you want to incorporate certain images, like for providers of your space, certain brand color schemes? How can you upload photos so ChatGPT can make the output more refined for your practice?
So are we refining photos in ChatGPT or are we doing that in Canva?
They didn't ask. So how would you do that in chat? Would you do it in Canva or would you?
Yeah, so I mean, you can upload photos in Canva.
Okay.
So you would go to upload files. You can see, there's files that are uploaded here. So I'll just pick this one. This is a file that I uploaded. And if I wanted to do something with it, I could click edit and I can make adjustments. And so I could adjust like white balance. I can adjust brightness, all the kind of the photo editing tools that you're used to can be done right in there. They also have different effects. So I click edit, there's different filters you can apply to it, duotone. There's a ton of ways that you can do this to make it consistent.
Okay. All right.
And as far as any of these other elements, the little bar up here, this is where you can change colors. So if I wanted that color to be like this yellow, I can change it just within this bar. And then all of your font settings, they have a bunch of different fonts that you can pick from that are all just available with the tool. Bold, italic, all of those kind of things are all available as far as. And what I would encourage you to do is create a standard template that's really tied to your brand, and then just leverage that for anything that you make moving forward. Yeah.
Good. Is there a is the paid or free? Is it paid or is Canva paid for, or is there a free Canva as well?
There are free plans for Canva. They have limitations, and the biggest limitation that I see is that you won't have access to the premium content. So, like for instance, if I'm going here to Elements and I'm going to these photos, there's different icons on the little right hand side. It's kind of hard to see, but on the right hand side there's this little like crown icon. That means it's a premium asset that's only available with paid plans. If it doesn't have a little crown asset on it there, then you can use that with the free plan. So it's pretty extensive. So it's likely that for at least trying this out, you won't have to spend any money. You can do ChatGPT. You can do the free Canva. Just give it a shot and see how it works. And I don't believe Hootsuite has a free option for what I'm about to show you next. But at the very least, hopefully you saved a bunch of time in creating the content.
The next question was, how did you add the logo on each page?
Oh, yeah, that's great. So I just made a logo. So if I go to my original design, I'm going to go back to, where was the one that I was? This one. So at the step before this, so the step would be before I create do the bulk create. All I did is I went to Elements and I typed in Med Spa logo. And I found something that I liked, right? Just as an example. So, see they're pretty limited on this kind of stuff, on graphics and logos and things like that. So I think I picked this one, drug it in there because they're vector graphics. You can change the colors on them. So I changed the color there. I resized it.
Or you would upload your own logo if you have that.
You would upload your own logo. Yeah. Right. So then I just did Boise Med Spa. And this field is my call to action field here. This would be my logo field. So whatever your logo is with your name. So I want that to be left justified. So then here, I made this just down on the right-hand corner. And this is a part of the template. And so then I put my call to action over here. And just to get the size right, like the layout right, I went ahead and just put two lines there because I want to make sure that it looked balanced in the design. And so now this element here, I'm not going to connect to any data fields because that's not changing. But everything else, that will be a data field, that's a data field, that's a data field. These are static and left alone. It'll copy that along with everything else and it won't change it.
Okay, thank you. Very good.
We got them all?
So 2 more questions.
Okay.
So one is I've tried to use ChatGPT, giving it an article info and asking it to summarize it, but it seems to change the information. Has this happened to you?
I haven't had a direct experience. I don't do a lot of article summaries. I think our stuff is like meeting summaries, so meeting notes and a lot of those kind of things. I typically like to read the full article myself. I haven't experienced that, but I would be curious to see what would cause that. But it can make mistakes, and so that's one of the things to keep in mind. It's not perfect. In fact,
Okay.
I've been studying AI for quite a few years, and especially the formation of it. I won't get into the nerdy tech details of it, but success is considered anywhere between 60 and 70% accurate of producing something. So some of these things got to be careful.
Okay, thank you. And then one last question. How do you incorporate vendor brand assets into this plan? So example, pulling in social media assets for Allergan, for instance, BrandBox, etc.
So if you can download them from Allergan's site, right, and get the assets, which you should be able to do, right, then you can upload those into Canva. So by using that upload function, if you upload them here, then they just become a part of the library of things that you have that you can pull from. And I believe in Canva as well. I'd have to get into. I don't want to take the time to do it, but you could create your own standard templates, and so. But you can incorporate those by uploading them and just flowing them into your designs.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you.
All right, so the last piece here, we've got about 15 minutes left, is being able to automate the scheduling of your social posting. Now, I didn't create a separate account for Hootsuite for this application. I'm just going to show you ours, right? So you can kind of see what a real one looks like in real time. So the first tip is, they have an upload function for an Excel spreadsheet, just like we did with Canva, but they have a template that they want you to use that has, things in a particular way. So download that template, make sure that you're starting from that vantage point rather than from something from scratch, so that way you don't get any errors. Double check all your posts in the calendar view, which I'll show you here in a minute with preview. And then aim to try to post at least once a day. I mean, right now, quality of social media content, the quality of content matters. It really does, especially with AI, because so many people are generating so much stuff and it's sort of just middle of the road, right? So when you're creating your designs, you want it to be really personal. You want to be unique to your practice. You want it to stand out. But because there is so much content being posted now, and we're not even getting into things like agents that are just doing this automatically without any human intervention at all, the quantity of your content it matters more now. And so posting at least once a day, multiple times a day, if you can, is going to help you stay on top of the algorithm. The algorithm is going to learn to trust you as an authority source with that consistency of posting, right? And so the more you post, not overwhelming people, right, but just the more consistent you are with that the algorithms then adapt and they go, okay, I know that I'm going to get content from these channels really consistently to serve up to people who are searching for these hashtags or looking at these search results or who are interested in similar things. The fastest algorithm on this one is TikTok, and it updates really, really fast. And you can do TikToks out of Canva. They have TikTok templates as well. You want obviously to create media for that channel specifically. So I'm going to jump over to Hootsuite, and if you're unfamiliar with Hootsuite, this is the planning view. And these are our social. I'll just go back a week, and you can see how much we post. These are all the video, all the assets that we've done, and we post on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and LinkedIn primarily. We just set up a Twitter account, but Twitter's a little different. X is a little different application than really kind of the organic strategy that we're following. And so if you follow us on any of the social media stuff, you've probably seen this stuff, but you can see that, this isn't that's Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook all from the same post. So it's one post going across 3 channels, promoting the blog and things like that. So how do we then get this stuff into Hootsuite? And there are other tools out there as well that you're able to use. Hootsuite, just what we prefer. And so their feature is called Bulk Composer. And it asks you to select a file to upload, right? Similar to just what we did before. And so I have pre-made this file, this bulk scheduler already, but right here on the right side, you can see download example. That's where you would download the sample sheet. And this is the format that it has it in. It has a specific date and time format in the text that will go into the social media post, the caption text, right? And then if you have a URL that's supposed to go in that as well, it asks you to separate that. And so those are the 3 elements that'll be there. And so what I did is then I took the caption column from my original spreadsheet that I created from ChatGPT, and I made that middle column. And then I put my website URL in the right column. And then I used the dates that ChatGPT gave me in the first column. So right now I'm going to open up this, and this will go pretty quick. And so I'm going to select a social account, which here is Instagram. I got my file there. And now you want to turn off do not shorten links. You want links to be shortened if you can, and it uses Owly as a link shortener. The only time you don't want to shorten a link is if you're using it for brand purpose. So like I wouldn't shorten clarityperformance.com because I want people to remember that name. But if it's like clarityperformance.com/blog/blah, it's like I'm definitely shortening that. I'm just going to click review posts, and it's all going to upload here. And so now everything's here. Now I got to go one by one and check these posts, right? So here's the Instagram caption and the URL, but this is an Instagram post, and so it won't allow me to move forward until I upload an associated file for that particular post. And so now that zip file that we had downloaded from Canva is now my desktop. I unzipped it and turned it into a folder. It's given everything a number, which is the same number that's associated with the order on the spreadsheet. And now I've got my post. And so then I would just go, I'm going to do the same thing. So this can be a little repetitive. It's not, it'd be great if you could just do images and this all at the same time. So it is a little redundant, but it really only takes, you can see how fast I'm going here. It'll take you less than 5 minutes to get all that done. So I'm going to upload 4. Takes a little bit longer for TikTok because it's uploading video, but it's seconds because TikToks are short. So in the interest of time, I'm only going to do these first 5 here. I'm going to delete the rest of them because I'm just doing this for demonstration purposes. So I've got images for all of those, and then it's got the dates, and then I just click schedule. And now I want to view my scheduled posts. It's going to take me back to the calendar. 4 posts are scheduled. And there we go. There's my first one. There's my second one, my third one, my fourth one. Now, when you're in here, you can click on the actual post itself. You can see how it's going to lay out on the app. You can see where the caption is, and the more it'll show you exactly how it's going to render on the platform. Now, I'm going to go ahead and delete these because we are not a med spa. But again, you can see here, freeze the fat away. You can see how it turns out, and it does that for all of the social channels that you end up posting on. All right. So the last piece is patient education. And with the few minutes that we have left, I'm happy to stay on a little bit longer to answer some questions. For those of you who have to go at 7, thank you so much for your time. But I want to talk a little bit about patient education. It's one of the most powerful ways to engage your audience and encourage them to come visit with you, because you're giving them value. And when you're giving them value, they feel like they're getting value. You're building a relationship of trust. And so the tips that I have here for this application is that you can use the educational journeys that we provide as destinations for social posts. And by that, I mean, if you have posts that are promoting Botox and you want people to learn about Botox, you can point them to our face series, our non-surgical face series, where they learn not just about Botox, but a bunch of other things as well. And just to give you an example of this, and I'll provide this as well. Let's see, we want to go to non-surgical. Here are all of our, I'll go to face here. So our face series, we have neuromodulators, dermal fillers, thread lifts, hair restoration. We've got all these these are all highly produced, highly engaging videos that will teach people all they need to know about these procedures. And if they become the destination for those social posts, then you have an opportunity to educate them and nurture them along to a consultation. Number 2 is what we call a watch link. Watch link is the ability to use a unique link specific for a journey from our platform without text message. So you can use that as the destination as the link at the end of the social post, and they'll jump over to that. And then from there, they can book an appointment and make a phone call, schedule with you. And the third one, and I'm going to show you all of this here in a second. The third one is to use our lead capture engine for following up with patients and also re-engaging them. And then finally is personalizing, our content that we provide for subscription. We have the ability to personalize it. It looks like it's coming from you. So it's branded with your practice logo, your practice colors. We have the opportunities for personalized video intros, which we help practices with, that sit as a first video on any one of these journeys, these series. And so it's coming from your practice and you're authenticating it, and then they have the opportunity to learn. So the first thing I'm going to show you is, let me bring up Chrome here. The first thing I'm going to show you is the ability to have a web form. So each of our journeys come with a web form that a patient can fill out their name and their phone number themselves. And this is important because they're signing up to receive this content that you're recommending to them. When they do that, their name and their phone number are going to appear in what we call the lead capture engine or lead capture report, and you can see exactly what they did. We don't have time to really demonstrate that right now, but I'll provide that information with the follow-up so you can see exactly what that looks like. The other thing is what we call watch links. And so a watch link is a link that can be created specific to a journey. So for this instance, I made a mommy makeover for social media. Let me just widen the window out here a little bit. And there's both a QR code that's generated for it, and there's also a link. And so if I copy that link and I load it into the website, this is the actual journey that comes up. And so that can be set up behind a social media post. So you can see that there's 7 episodes here. It covers everything from liposuction to breast augmentation to abdominoplasty. And again, all of these are available through our solution. And so, and then the last piece I think I mentioned is the personalization piece. So the beginning of these journeys, instead of this video here, it would be one of your provider, your doctor, or your staff welcoming the patient to the practice, letting them know who you are, what you're about, and what they're going to experience by choosing you. And with that, I'm 2 minutes under. Hopefully everybody got some value out of this. I'm willing to stick around for a couple of minutes to answer any additional questions, but I know folks are busy and got dinners to eat and kids to feed. So thank you so much for your time tonight. Really appreciate your attendance and your attention. And with that, we will consider this finished, except for the Q&A that we'll hold right now.